Welcome, this is Catherine. I'm at the movie theater today, and the movie I'm seeing is Back to the Future, the re-release, the original from 1985. It's the 40th anniversary, and I'm excited to see it on the big screen again. I realize most people have seen this movie. What I'm going to do when I get home is review the book, Future Boy by Michael J. Fox. I finished reading it, and I'd like to share a few highlights in the book that I liked. There's also a new poster with new artwork. Please join me and let's go find that poster. Here's the new poster. It's October 30th, 2025, and I'm seeing it a day early. It's nice that they gave us some new artwork for the anniversary. They're selling these little DeLoreans. They're candy buckets at the concession stand. This is pretty cute. It's $50. I'm seeing the movie in Theater 11. Some fun things to remember. The DeLorean goes back in time, October 26, 1955. It goes 88 miles an hour. And I'm going to watch for Marty's Nike shoes with the red swoosh at the beginning of the movie. And you'll know what I'm talking about when I read some of the book to you. This is my seat. I'm in row E, seat number 3. I'm home from the movie, and what I'll do now is share my review of Future Boy by Michael J. Fox. I really enjoyed this book. It gave me a behind-the-scenes look at what it was like to make the movie from Michael's perspective. And there were 4 highlights in this book I want to share with you just at the beginning so I don't give too much away. I have some background information to share just so the stories make more sense. First of all, he was filming Family Ties, the 3rd season, and filming Back to the Future at the same time, doing 2 jobs. Family Ties was filmed during the day, and I have notes here, I wrote this down. It was from 10 to 4 p.m. each day, or Monday through Friday. And Gary David Goldberg, creator and executive producer of Family Ties. And Back to the Future was filmed in the evening from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. or 2 a.m., depending on the situation of the scene. Director Bob Zemeckis, writer, producer Bob Gale, producers Neil Canton and Steven Spielberg. So now I'll share the 4 parts. The first part, and I have them marked in the book, is found on page 57. It was when he was auditioning for Family Ties. And I'm going to take the cover off the book just so it's easier to turn the pages. So this is when he was auditioning for Family Ties on page 57. It says, Gary David Goldberg was not charmed by my initial Family Ties audition. Luckily, the casting director, Judith Weiner, stood firmly in my corner and she encouraged me to hold on. And at last, Gary wanted me for Alex. But the big problem stood in the way. NBC was less impressed with me, in part because of the network president, Brandon Tartikoff, thought I was too short to play Michael Gross's son. So he had that obstacle to overcome. And by the 4th episode, he was hired as Alex P. Keaton, and he rose to fame on that show. The next highlight is found on page 25. And this is the story behind Marty McFly's Nike shoes. It says, I brought a dash of my own style to Marty McFly. His Nike shoes were mine. On the day of the Malibu fitting, the costume department realized in their rush to gather everything needed for the lead actor switch and revised look, they had left out Marty's shoes in the back's down soundstage. I arrived at the meeting wearing my favorite Nike shoes, a pair of no-frills white Bruins with the red logo. They were my go-to sneaks, perfect for skateboarding and duck walking and kicking around. Everything Marty needed to do. It was that simple. There was no confab about the swoosh, contonating action and the color being right. Marty needed shoes, so I said, how about these? My chosen footwear today had to been long-lasting impact on the character, and on Nike, which would be associated with Back to the Future from here on out. So that's the story behind his shoes, and I can still remember in my mind seeing the visual of those shoes in the movie. Highlight number 3 is found on page 37. It's titled, "And So It Begins," and this is about Michael J. Fox being terrified. So much rode on the success of my fitting seamlessly into Back to the Future. Being capitulated into the film was like entering a battle that was already underway, with no clear idea of whether we would win or lose. Everybody was going through the same crisis in their own way. There was intense pressure on every element of the production for me to work with as Marty McFly. The feeling was so palpable on the set. No one asked if I was nervous. I projected security and confidence way deep down. I was very terrified. I wondered what would happen if it turned out that Zemeckis and Gale had compounded their own original error. So this was really amazing to me that he was terrified, because he replaced an actor named Eric Stoltz, who initially played Marty McFly. The fourth point I'll share with you today is about hierarchy of actors. This is what it says on page 53. Coming into Back to the Future, I had a nagging suspicion that I might be exposed as inferior. As it turned out, Leah wasn't the only cast member who had doubts about me. During my first days on the film, there were no backslaps or hugs, hello from my fellow troupe. They were still in shock about losing Eric. Leah wondered, if an actor can be replaced halfway into the production, it could happen to anyone. Adding to the unease, my arrival disrupted the actors' typical hierarchy, the power structure with theater actors on the top, movie actors below, then television actors, actors in commercial advertising, and extras. I was not in the same league as the other actors. I was not heralded as a big deal when I dropped into the film midstream, and the cast had already bonded with the other film actors. They were cautious, polite, but not especially welcoming. Leah now admits to a certain superiority. I was snooty to you because I was a film actor and you were a TV actor. She laughs as she looks back on the initial reaction. Obviously, that was such a stupid point of view. So reading this book, I just never realized how much pressure there was on actors when filming this. You know, back in 1985, I just watched the film as a teenager and enjoyed it. Those are the 4 parts that stood out to me. That's at the beginning of the book. It does get better, and it's not an unhappy book. I just really enjoyed this. It has pictures. It goes into his childhood, how he learned to play guitar. And also, I like the part where he filmed the Johnny B. Good scene at the school dance, and it talks about the details of that and how they hired a professional musician to train him to make the scene look authentic. I thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comments about the movie and your memories of it, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.